Hi everyone, today I want to talk to you about dual ISO, dual native ISO, dual base ISO, whatever it might be called on your camera. And I know I say ISO and some people say ISO, and I might switch between the two. Now, what I'm going to do is start off by talking about native or base ISO. And that is the setting that gives you the best noise. When I say best noise, that is low or no noise, and also best dynamic range. And as you change your ISO, it then changes. The dynamic range can lower, and also you can get more noise in your image. Now on this camera here, this is a Canon EOS R5C, the base is 800, or the native is 800 ISO. And a lot of the Canon cinema cameras, it's the same. On my EOS R5 Mark II, it's also 800. By the way, this doesn't apply to stills, and I don't know why, but there is no such thing as dual ISO that I've seen on stills cameras, certainly not on the Canon ones. But anyway, so as I increase my ISO, I'm getting more noise and lower dynamic range. By having a dual ISO, and I'll show you that here in a moment, they call it base ISO on here, as I get to a particular higher ISO, so on this camera, when I get to 3200 ISO, I can see that the noise drops, and also I get the same dynamic range. And so I get the same noise and the same dynamic range as if I was at 800. So kind of giving me the best of both worlds. And this is really useful because I do a lot of sort of documentary talks and things where I'm not allowed to do any extra lighting and events. So putting it up to 3200 is really good and giving me the same result as if I was at 800. Now some cameras have different dual ISOs. Say, for example, the new C50 made by Canon has 800 and 6400. And also the C80 and C400, also made by Canon, have triple ISO, 800, 3200 and 12800, which is just amazing. And this is really useful if you're the sort of person who's got to be dealing with low light kind of situations. Now on this camera, it actually tells me that, and it says it has dual ISO. But on other cameras, such as my R5 Mark II, it doesn't officially say that it has dual ISO. But I have noticed that it does at 800, and if I turn it up to 4000, I notice that it drops back to the same sort of noise level as I had at 800. So let's just take a quick look at how it works on this camera. So if I go into my menu here on the R5C, and you can see here, base ISO, it's on auto selection. I could choose it to be 800 or 3200. Maybe I want to make sure that it's on that. With auto selection, it would automatically change. So if it goes to 3200 or above, it would automatically change the base ISO to 3200. And below that, it would switch it down to 800. But you may have a particular reason for wanting to keep it, say, at 800, and maybe you want to make it go higher and get the noise in there. So that's really down to you. I'm going to use auto selection here. So now I've got this scene here, and what I'm going to show you, I'm going to zoom in on this so that you can actually see it on a dark area, because that's where it's more prevalent, where you're likely to see noise on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my ISO. And I might change my exposure as I go along, changing the f-stop here as well. But let's see, there we've got it, and let's just crop in on this camera here, which is black. And if I increase it, you're going to see the noise increasing. I'm just going to change my exposure down a bit, and let's go back to the ISO, and you can see it's going up, and then when it hits 3200, you'll see that the noise goes back to the same as it was for 800. So that's great. And then I could keep going higher and higher, and let me just adjust my exposure just a bit again. So there we go. So that's what it does. So as you can see, this is really useful. When I first started doing digital video, we didn't have any of this dual ISO, and you'd put up your ISO and boy, it could be quite noisy really. So this is a great innovation as well. So I hope this has been useful. If you do like this, please do like, share and subscribe, and come back for more.